I will give you insights into the market. Of course, that is the most interesting things of all. I will give a short roundup of the tickers I mentioned before, which I believe in, and maybe a stock tip or two. You are listening to the Trading Tips with Jim as we head into week 13.
Trading Tips with Jim.
$1,000 has become $4,146.90. NEO has had a super period while I was away. To no big surprise, sitting just under 6 and showing all the signs that it will just continue upwards. And that has brought the $1,000 challenge, as I said, to above $4,000. I will get back to that in just a little while. The intervention in Iran has brought markets down. Dow Jones down by 7% since I was last. S&P 500 by a little over 3% and Nasdaq just over 2%. Not a big surprise to me that Nasdaq is the one has fallen the less, because as I told you, the buy and the sell signals were already very low at Nasdaq before it happened, and this is usually a good sign. And now the signs, the buy and the sell signal, are as low as they can be, almost. I have seen them a little lower, but this is typically an up. Anyway, I was flying to Zanzibar for a nice vacation, and the plane had a stop in Egypt on the way down and was supposed to have a stop in Egypt on the way up. Actually, it managed to have a stop in Egypt on the way up in Hurghada, but it was almost as the Iran war has started. And it is too much to explain in a short podcast, but I have prepared for many scenarios. And one of the things that I said very early on a few years back was that I will go in, I think it'll be 2 years now, I will be heading into a lot of freight, container ships, etc., especially in the Norwegian market, because that's where some of the best companies in the world is. So I did exactly that, because I said I think the interest, the rates, the freight rates will go up. The dividends are very strong, and I want that as a back end, as a small guarantee for different scenarios, because I saw the world would go up, trade would increase, and if anything would happen, oil prices would go a little up, which will just push the rates anyway. And exactly that has happened, and that is why you should have a diversified portfolio. Now I get higher dividends than ever, and of course the stock prices for the different companies I'm in have also gone up. And you might wonder which companies these are. Well, these are Höegh Autoliner, MPCC, 2020 Oil, Frontline, to mention some of these. You'll find them all both in Nasdaq and Oslo Stock Exchange, depending on where you trade. I also made a huge bet into NEO, and I started with this maybe also 1.5 years ago. I started to buy into NEO, and I said I really want a huge stake into NEO, because I think that the company is at the right place. NEO was once over $60, and I told everyone just sell, because the EV hype is just crazy, it has nothing to do with reality. And I bashed EV as such. I told you that the world still will depend on fossil cars, and that EV hype, that it cannot last. There is no logic to it. But I also said that EV in general will improve. They will build the logistics, the batteries will get longer. EV is the future. And when NEO was starting to get really low, I saw the huge opportunity. Buying at different levels, bought on higher levels, but I also managed to buy, for instance, at 380, giving me a superb average, and I also put it into the $1,000 challenge. And I said, because from my perspective, this, based on all the car sales, etc., the technical picture, all of it shows this stock should go up. But sometimes you just have to wait, and we have been waiting for NEO to go up. It had a rush before, going all the way almost to 8, and now it is on a second run, currently sitting at 589 after being above 6 for a few days. And the reason is that NEO is pushing positive quarter results for the first time in the history. But they said it before, that they will The reason they haven't done it before is because they want a huge market share, which they have gained. And they also, and facing competition, you do this by low prices. Of course, it's a way to get into the market. Anyway, this has really paid off, making sure the Norwegian, especially the freight container ships, the bet into NEO. And one thing I also said early in the year, I will bet. And the dollar has been going down. It was at 121 at the highest against the euro, currently sitting at 115. So that has turned out so far to be a very good bet. These three things in general make sure that my overall portfolio is doing somewhat okay. But that doesn't mean that I haven't had to pay a price for the recent falls in the market, because I have a lot of other stocks which also have. And I told you that I wanted to get into American Airlines because I really believe they are cheap at current level. I got into American Airlines at the okay price. Then the war came hammering American Airlines from around $14 down to just above 10. But I used the chance to buy more, just like I did in NEO. And I will come with a short repetition of the companies that I'm currently placing my bet into. One of these, for instance, is Tesla. I said, just get Tesla down to 370 and I will be eager, patiently waiting after I sold Tesla after almost doubling money in the first run I had. I sold Tesla just above 450. 58 if I remember correctly, and I said that I will rebuy if Tesla is getting down to around 370, which I think is a fair target, currently 380. I will get back to that in just a bit. And if you like the podcast so far, remember to like it. It's a little important if you want it to continue, and subscribe, of course, if you haven't. One thing that really tells a lot about market, where we are and opportunities, is the buy and the sell signals. I told you this is one of the easiest things that you can follow if you want to have an idea about the market. Of course, you can scan Financial, you can read Bloomberg, but you get a million different inputs, and a lot of them have no root in reality, because most articles are written for a click. They want you to click to read and present sensational. One news which has been pushed is that the oil will go to 200. I don't believe that oil. I actually believe oil will go down to around $40 by the end of the summer. I will not argue too much why now, but I cannot see the Iran conflict going on for long. And in the meantime, oil production is increasing everywhere in the world. The logistics are getting better. It is just a small hiccup, but this is the kind of hiccup you want. This is the kind of opportunities that give you the edge. I flew to Zanzibar, and I can fly a lot of places because I have done a lot of good choices over the years. And one of the things that I try to do in this podcast is enable you to do good choices. A lot of times there will be wrong choices. You just have to do more good than wrong choices. One of the choices I have done is being diversified and being patient, meaning that I'm not trying to go all in on a single stock, try to chase the fast growing things, because you might be lucky, you might be in a good period, and I weigh my portfolio depending on the market outlook. Sometimes I'm very much exposed, then I'm less exposed, then I'm more exposed depending on how I see market. And if you pair this with a little patience, a few years pass by and suddenly you are at a good spot, which I hope you will be as well if you are not. But back to the signals, this is one of the easiest things you can use. When they are too high, like before I left, New York Stock Exchange was at 44. I don't remember exactly word by word what I said, but I probably said something like that. That starts to become a little high, has been higher, but in general it starts to become a little high. Nasdaq was down at 17, which I said usually offers close to a good buying opportunity. Week 6 it was down at 12. Now Nasdaq is down at 9, the lowest I ever seen this in our signal database, and you'll find it at Stock Invest. If you go, you'll find overall, if you go to the market, the front page, and you just have to go to the different exchanges to see how much buy and sell signals there is. I have seen Nasdaq down at 7. Every time it's been at 7, I've been buying. You can go back. This podcast is already 6 years long. You can go back to the 3 times I think it was this. And I said, no, I'm just putting everything I have into the market. Been spot on each time. Maybe you miss a week or 2 or 3. But that is how it is. Nasdaq currently at 9% buy signals. Here comes the thing. When the buy signals are this low across all the tickets that we analyze, it's only 14% buy signals. Before I left, it was 36. 40% is extremely low, meaning that there is huge pessimism in the market. When it is this, you just need something to cause major fall. So the chance of a major fall is extremely present. It's the same thing when they are way too high. You can have these insane rallies where Nasdaq is up 4% in a single day, which doesn't make any single sense. But the same is when it's very low. You can have the situation where it can drop very hard. So we are at a spot where we can have the huge market drops. Looking at the, for instance, Nasdaq chart doesn't look like that to me at all. It looks like a very contained downwards trend, which is starting to hit the bottom of the long-term trend, which is just around 21,800 points, meaning that Nasdaq most likely, it doesn't have to happen, most likely is about to turn. The short-term trend picture is very strongly downwards. And doesn't offer many signals that say it will go up in short time. Conclude this, how do we read this? Well, it says to me, maybe markets will not this week. I'm making this podcast this Friday, so this is for week 13, I believe. Maybe the markets will not go up, but we are very close. What happens is that I start to put my money into the market. The money that I took out, I start to put in. And maybe it's wrong. Maybe we'll get a small crack next week. Maybe it will be 2 weeks, 3 weeks before it goes down. But look at this in a huge, long picture. And I'm pretty sure that maybe I didn't pick the right week. But I did a good decision, selling when it was high, buying when it was lower. New York Stock Exchange only 17% buy signal, still a little high, can go lower. London 10%, Oslo 30%, and the reason Oslo is high up is because Oslo is an oil exchange and oil prices, good oil prices mean good times for Oslo Stock Exchange. But this will change very soon. I will reduce my exposure in the Oslo market by far. I will do some arrangements in the portfolio because with very good dividend and very good stock prices, I want to secure some of the profit made. Frankfurt only 9%, National Stock Exchange only 7%. Tokyo 17%, Shenzhen China 15%, which means that I also will try to make trades related to Indian companies. The stocks which I have been mentioning, I'm very interested. I mentioned stocks which I'm very interested in buying. I mentioned that I even wanted to buy crypto. I've been buying a little crypto. Bought a little high. Bought, for instance, Bitcoin at 90. Later I bought more at 78. Even bought a little as it was down to 70. This is just how I do it. I believe Bitcoin will do very good. And I just want to have a decent exposure, a total overall in my exposure, in my portfolios overall, I'm about 10% exposed into crypto, and it's a place I want to be. For some little time I was down at 5, now I'm closer to 10. I might even increase it a little bit more into crypto. We'll think about it, but in general I think crypto has a huge upside. And gold, which I have been mentioning a lot of times, is on the downwind. After being up at 5,500, it is down at 4,700, and I cannot see gold go up anytime soon. I think it will continue downwards. I will get back into gold. I bought gold at 1,600, follow it up all the way to 3,000, then I had to sell because I wanted to go into Tesla and Nvidia, use all this money to get into Tesla and Nvidia. But I said I will not be surprised if gold goes to 3,500, maybe close to 4,000. I didn't expect 5,500. Nobody expected that. But I also said that over the next 10 years, I believe gold will do very good. But right now, I think gold is way too overvalued, and I think it will push downwards. Anyway, I am using this period now to get into stocks. I told you just a few minutes ago that I bought into American Airlines because I believe the price offers a good opportunity, and ever since it fall really hard. But that's a part of the game, and I still believe American Airlines will do very good. So I bought more, putting my average down. It's called dollar cost averaging, putting my cost even. But at some point I was down more than enough. Another company in my portfolio is Dollar General. Last time we spoke it was around 140 around, now currently 123. Also mentioned Lulu. Lulu been holding very good up actually. It's more or less unchanged over the last 3 weeks. Starbucks I already mentioned before. I said I bought Starbucks at 88, sold over 100, and I wanted to rebuy if it got closer to the 90 level, which I am doing. Chipotle stays in the portfolio falling. I bought Chipotle also under $30, was up at $40. Been falling a little back, currently at $32.94. These are long-term trends for me. On top of this, I mentioned that Adobe, DoorDash are companies which, just given a very good price, offers a buying opportunity to me, and I really believe they do. Currently, Adobe is sitting at $246, where DoorDash is at $159. They've been falling since I said they were a good buying opportunity, but I told you these are long-term trends. You just have to find a very good buying opportunity. And with very low buy and sell signals, which is in the market, indicates to me that we are close to some sort of bottom. And again, just go back to the podcast, the start of the year, where I tell you I think the first quarter, maybe even the first half year, will be a slow one before it goes up. Everything is moving more or less according to expectation. The Iran thing put a higher pressure on it, putting it further down. But I'm using the chance to get more exposure into the market. One company that has gone up in the meantime is Aeva Technologies. I believe it's LiDAR they are working with. They have been going up almost 7% in the period where things have been going down. I'm also into Aeva, by the way. First trade made 40%, and as I told you, I will go in again into Aeva Technologies, trying to get more out of it. So my portfolio consists of Bitcoin. I'm bullish on the dollar. I'm living in a euro country, bullish on the dollar against the euro. And I invested into Neon, a huge chunk, and a few other things. And I'm getting into the stocks that I just mentioned. I'm getting my positions up as I want them. Two stocks which I really want to get back into. And then we have Big Bear and Rigetti also offering the same opportunities. Mentioned this the last time, but there is two stocks which I want to get back to after. When I sold them, I told you I strongly believe in Tesla, and I strongly believe in Nvidia. I sold Nvidia at $208 per share after almost doubling the money on the trade, and I said I sell, but I really want to get back into these stocks. I just think they are overvalued. And Tesla is currently sitting around $380, very close to the 370 mark. And personally, I'm sorry if you are a Tesla holder, I just hope we will have a few red days, bringing me close to where I want to buy. And then I will get back into Tesla. Nvidia I want down at around 150, currently sitting at 178, so we have to wait still for that to happen, and I think we just need bad markets. Signals, as I said, are very low. We can have these scary days, and if that happens, I guess the trades will be where I want them to be. We will just have to see. Getting close to the end podcast. We have a few items left. The $1,000 challenge is one of them. I will try in the future to give you a little more updates about my personal holdings, so you can see exactly how I trade. But dividends, for instance, I reinvest. Lately, I haven't been reinvesting my dividend because I've been expecting a market fall, and I want to place the money at the right time. But as I said, the buy and sell signals are very, very low, very, very close to find them the good point. I will repeat one more time. If you are interested in the buy and the sell signals, go to the stockinvest.us page. On the front page, you will see it overall. It says buy, sell, hold, and it's a percent number. And if you want the different exchanges, just go to exchanges, select the market that you are interested in. And this usually hold the thing. And the common thing is that when it's around 2030, it means that markets is in some, if the buy and the buy signals is around 2030, maybe something even 35, it says the markets is in balance. You want the high and the low, that is when market is in unbalance, and where you have your opportunities, either the sell opportunities or the buy opportunities. And right now, as I said, many of the markets are extremely low, and this will be picked up on. At the same time, we can have that last minute scare. To use stop loss for investments long term, you play the game a little different, but for short term, make sure to have stop loss. $1,000 challenge, NEO. And NEO is doing exactly what it was supposed to do, and bringing the $1,000 challenge up to $4,146.90. It just means that when I started the $1,000 challenge, if you had followed all the trades which I did, you would have $4,146.90. I always tell you up ahead what I want to change to, and lately I've been repeating myself. I don't see any real opportunities better than NEO, so I will stay in NEO. And sadly, I will say the exact same thing this week. NEO to me looks like to be one of the safest bets right now in the market, so why should I sell it? I will tell you before I sell, I will tell you which stock I will go into. I have a few candidates which are really getting super interesting, and I think we can get a huge return on. But for now, I will stay in NEO. And if by any good luck we see NEO push upwards, which I think is a high chance it will do, we are getting to the point where I soon can split it into 2 trades and things will start to get more interesting. I'm hunting for 10,000, and after 10,000 I'm hunting for 100,000. See and show that it is possible. You just have to be patient. That brings me to the end of the podcast. No need to prolong it. I hope that you got something out of the podcast. I hope you liked it. I hope you subscribe if you haven't subscribed. More than anything, I hope that your portfolio will be much greener by the end of the next week. I hope that you will have a super weekend and a super week. And maybe, just maybe, we see again next week. Bye.
Trading tips with Jim.